Welcome back, JK Live Wednesday night. Can you believe it's been nearly 30 years since this man first unleashed his washboard abs on an unsuspecting British public? Right, cut, stop enjoying yourself. Mysterious Girl was the song that catapulted him to stardom, but it was his stint in the jungle on I'm A Celeb that saw him truly taken to this nation's heart. We've seen a high-profile marriage, a high-profile divorce. We've seen his good times and his bad, but at all times we've seen the fact, and this just so annoys me, he's just a bloody nice guy, isn't he? A pop star, a TV star, a West End star, and a parent to at least 2 stars in the making. The only thing about Peter Andre's got less kids than me. How are you, me old son?
I'm good. It's good to see you.
And you. There's
so much
flash. Well, yeah, Piers will be here in a minute. I am the fluffer. There's so much I want to talk to you about. Let's start with the spotlight. Princess and Junior are now in the spotlight as well. What's the reality for you, knowing what you've been through and then knowing and believing what they might go through? Is that difficult?
Well, I mean, I guess they've had a different start to what I had, because when I first started, it was just a dream, you know. My parents were not into this industry at all, and they tried to talk me out of it a lot of times, and they kept having this fear about what the industry was like. But I dreamed and dreamed and dreamed and wanted to do it, and I eventually did it. But I guess for them, they've sort of started being on TV. They've got to know, you know, they come to shows, they go backstage, they meet people. So I think they've lived a slightly different life to this point.
Well, social media, when we both started, it wasn't around. Now it's, or even I'm on social media, right? So it's really changed everything. But there is an uglier side to that. And I want to ask you about that, because I worry about that with my kids, if there's too much involvement. Do you? As a father?
I do, but you see, I've had people say to me, you know, well, why don't you keep your kids off social media if you think, you know, if you're worried about them? And I said, that's great in theory, but try getting your kids off social media. See, to me, that's not a practical solution, because even if you took them off it, they'd go to school and in their lunch breaks, they'd go on their friends' social media. They've always got access to it. So for me, it's more about what do we do to protect them while they're on it.
Is it better to put them in the limelight and explain the pitfalls and the uglier side and give them tools by which they can deal with it?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think it just happened with them two, because the 2 youngest ones haven't, you know, they're not at all seen at all. They're not, they don't do anything within the entertainment industry, but it just so happened with the other 2. And there's no regrets there. I hope that they're brought up away enough to know that the key things are to stay humble, the key things are to be nice, and not make all the mistakes, because I've made loads of mistakes along the way, and you learn, you know?
And maybe if you've been through it, you're right. You have your kids and you think, OK, there will be pitfalls. I mean, my son came in last night, right, and he was really like, Piers Morgan's here in the building. And I went, yeah, whatever. Anyway, Piers was amazing with him, right? So he shows me the photograph today, and I went, you're going to post that? He went, no, I'm not going to, because I don't look cool.
Yeah, right.
Do you know what I mean? I'm like, the world's changed. Do we sound old?
Well, if you think about when we were kids, I'm talking like we're the same age.
You're 50 next year, aren't you?
Yeah, you didn't need to say that.
I'm nearly
Thank
60.
You're looking good, by the way.
Thank you.
OK, so let's go back. If you think about our day, right? When we met someone, we didn't care how we looked. We just wanted a picture with them. And now it is about how you look in the picture. And I've never been one to say, you know, filters and all these things are wrong, because even back in the 90s when we were doing calendars and all that, they were all, you know,
of course,
photoshopped, and that's the way it always was.
Let's talk about the one time in your life when there was no filter, and that's in the jungle. Loads made up about I'm A Celebrity yesterday with the decision of Matt Hancock. I'd love your opinion on that before I talk about your response. A man who did what he did, should he not be with his constituents, dealing with all the problems? Well,
what I will say, I mean, I don't know if you're going to like that I'm going to bring Piers up here, but he said such a good thing yesterday, which I thought was brilliant, when he said that, well, he described him as an imminent a kangaroo testicle eating, what did he say? It was brilliant anyway, if you can go back on his tweets.
So his show was brilliant and mine wasn't?
No, I didn't watch his show, I'm just saying.
He's right, though. What does Matt... Is it right for politicians I don't know. What's the answer?
Well, it depends, because there's been many politicians that have been on the show.
People used to go on I'm A Celeb to raise, with the greatest of respect, their stardom, didn't they? But now, I mean, this year's lineup, Boy George, I mean, there's Mike Tindall, member of the royal family.
But going back to Matt Hancock, what I think is really interesting is that when you go on this show, it's an opportunity for people to see a good side of you, right? Or your personality. It doesn't matter what good side he's got, he's going in with a barrage of people not liking what he's done in the period of time through COVID. So you could show a good side, but it's not necessarily the time to show that good side, because people are more angry about what you've done rather than what you're like as a person.
Do you think he's naive enough to think he can go in there and people are going to change their opinion of him?
I don't know the guy, but I do think that, I think it's an odd thing for him to do. I think some of the other people, like Boy George, we've never really known his personality, so it's a great opportunity. But Matt Hancock, is him being a nice person really going to change what people feel and what they went through?
Any regrets from your time in the jungle? You do it again?
No, and you know what? Two things. One, Chris Moyles, who's going in, who I'm really happy about, he campaigned Mysterious Girl when I was in the jungle and got it to #1. So the first, even though it had been released 10 years earlier, it went to #1 because of him. And I promised him if he ever gave me a #1, I'd buy him a car. And then when I got to #1, I thought, well, it hasn't made me any money. So I went and took him a toy car, poor guy. But anyway, he's going in the jungle. He'll be great. Again, showing his personality. Just the Matt Hancock, I'm not sure is a good idea.
Piers actually tweeted, this is brilliant. I never thought I'd feel sorry for a pair of kangaroo testicles, but I do now. #Hancock.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah. Rumours that you're emigrating to Australia. What's that all about?
I did. We immigrated to Australia when I was 6. I'm not sure I can do it again right now. But, you know, Mum and Dad are out there. And I think I'm worried about them a lot. But my wife's an NHS doctor here. My kids are at school here. It's really difficult to just uproot them all to go there. So I've just got to keep going back as much as I can. Yeah.
Lots of the stuff, and I know this is political, but I think it matters to all sorts of people. No, I'm just interested. Every day this week we've talked about the police and people's lack of increasing trust in the police, and actually loads do a great job, we know that. There's 3 women on this show last night, including an ex-Met police officer who said, I'm scared to go out. What do you talk to Princess about? I've got an 18-year-old daughter who was telling me she's at university, I won't say where, and she was telling me how she holds her drink now because a friend of hers got spiked the other night. It's frightening, isn't it?
It's absolutely frightening. I mean, I always hold the top of my drink. We were taught that really young in Australia because of what was happening. But then when I think about the Australian police, they were fully armed, you know. You didn't mess with the police in Australia.
Do you trust the police here?
I'm going to tell you the truth. I think they're the nicest, most polite police officers I've ever met. Because you try messing with an American police officer, you got no chance.
But you're a celebrity. What I'm asking is, when you hear today about police officers jailed for heinous crimes, do you think that really, as the stock lowered? I don't know. It's interesting.
But celebrity or no celebrity, I've seen how the police are here. And I've had people say to me, well, the police are this and they're shit and they're this and they're that. And I think, but when they need them, they're going to call them. See, I have a soft spot for the police here. I
think we all do, which is the frustration. 2023 is a massive year for Peter Andre, says Lucy. He's 50, you celebrate, great, we've done it again. You celebrate 30 years in show business. Are we doing something special? We are, aren't we? Yeah. I mean, not we, I'm not invited, obviously.
So, look, times have changed, right? I mean, I've definitely grown up now and I haven't released music for years. I'd never thought, you can't compete with all the new young guys, but I'm going to do it next year. I've got to do it because it's 30 years. You've got to do it for that. And then I'll tour off the back of that. But we've got like 5 dates of something I've never done before, sort of like a one-man kind of show that we're going to do at the beginning of next year. And then we'll bring out an album and tour that out.
You've just done Greece, which is amazing. It's like you're falling back in love with showbiz. So this tour, are you just going to be singing or do you need somebody to interview you every night?
Mate, that's a good idea. Where's Claire?
Claire is both of our managers and is really somebody you might consider that. You're all over the place. Yeovil, Hunstanton, we're going to Crawley, we're going to Wickham. I say we, because I think I should come with you.
It's a good idea, but it's not an interview kind of thing. But what it is, a little bit of chat, a little bit of music.
I'll do the door.
You take the door?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
As you know, Piers Morgan is on the way, and somebody
Look at him. He's-
somebody
he
told me
looks
that
good.
in another world, on a station that no longer exists, you two kissed on the lips.
He did. He actually assaulted me live on air.
The thing was...
I didn't mind. I wasn't complaining.
And
actually, he wasn't a bad kisser, but it was an unusual moment.
It was an unusual moment, but what I try and tell people, and I say this to Piers, is you can say it all you like, but he was the kissee. I received. He was the kisser, sorry.
So he was dominant.
I received. What am I
We've got a picture of the kiss. Let's have a look at this, Morgan. I've got you here. Look, let's have a look.
This is not a nuclear war you want to start, Kyle.
Why, I have never kissed Pete. Oh, that's not the right kiss. That's the wrong
Good,
picture.
let's just
What
leave
do you
it
mean?
there.
What have I
That's
done?
not me. You want it? Get your act
Oh,
together.
there it is. What's going on, Morgan?
But I mean, look, OK...
I was in touch with my feminine side.
Good man.
Doesn't get more feminine
And I
than
was in
Andre.
touch with his feminine
I'd
side.
like to say I've got to apologise because Peter might have used a bad word. We apologise for that.
Did I?
Thank you very much indeed. Don't worry about it.
What was the bad word?
Well, I'm not going to say it. You can. You're the boss. We love you,
I like
Peter
the
Andre.
tweet. Hang on, I've got to tell him. I like the tweet you put up about the imminent... What did you say? The imminent
kangaroo testicle muncher.
That was one of the
Hashtag
best.
Hancock.
One of the
Piers,
best.
it's all yours. See you tomorrow, gang.
Thanks, guys. Good to see you.
You too.